This all resonates with me a lot as a queer woman because I see that in a lot of lesbian spaces, they're incredibly marginalizing of trans women in particular. And it's still, I think, so taboo. I mean, there's also issues like trans misogyny against trans women and various expressions of femininity. But, I do want to look to this article called How to Bed a Trans Man so that we can maybe discuss some of the proper etiquette, if there is such thing, for when people are maybe in LGBT spaces and they want to bring this stuff up. So, Elliot, I just kind of want you to help me go through some of these points. Number one, I would hope would be obvious, but I suppose it's not for some people. It's don't use the word tranny.
Yeah. What you want me to, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's a derogatory term these days, right?
Yeah. I guess, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about something. Yeah, that is a derogatory term. That's, a lot of people don't know that. So I could see where they might think that that's something they could say. But yeah, that's probably something you should avoid.
Number two, Matt, how about you take this one? It's if you mess up pronouns, apologize briefly and move on. Say somebody does get something wrong. I mean, should they just say, hey, I'm sorry, go with it?
Yeah, I think if you're in a crowd, if you're in a group, and people don't know that that person is trans and you do, and you screw up on the pronoun, the best thing to do is just keep moving on. Because the more you fall all over yourself to apologize, the more you bring attention to it. If you're with the person privately, you can just say, oh, I'm sorry, I meant he or I meant him, and then move on.
The next one is do your own research beforehand. So I guess I always think that it is, as a cisgender woman, it's really my job to educate myself in order to, about these issues rather than feeling entitled to getting that information from someone else. Bill, do you want to respond to that one?
Well, absolutely. If people don't want to have to go and do Trans 101 while they're out on a date. I mean, if you know someone fairly well and you know that they're willing to have that conversation, that's one thing. But when you are out on a first date, don't be like, I don't want to put them in the spot where it's not actually about the relationship. It's like you're putting them, I don't know, maybe not on trial, but you're, asking for a lecture. Like, please inform me. And that's really just a kind of entitlement that, like, my desire to know is more important than your desire to actually have a good time on this date.
Elliot, I want to get the last word.
Can I interject?
Yeah, I want to get the last word from you for this segment. How would you like to see the community change? I guess, would you like to see gay men just become more accepting, the entire LGBT community become more accepting of trans lives and also gender nonconforming folks?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that personally, I've gotten to a point where if somebody identifies as a gay man, I really have a lot of trouble dating them. I would like to. I don't like this idea of trans men having to impress gay men. There's this kind of power dynamic. I think that when you feel like no one is, that only certain people are going to get it, and so you have to you have to do almost like whatever they say. It can be a real abusive dynamic. And so my thing, I think that if everybody stopped looking at sexuality as a black and white kind of thing, stopped looking at gender as a black and white kind of thing, and just they were attracted to who they were attracted to, and that's that. And they don't have to put a label on it. I understand that identities are helpful for explaining things to people, but personally, I'm much more attracted to men who are open to whatever they find themselves attracted to and don't have to box it in and limit themselves. Because that's personally how I feel. I don't identify as gay. So, the idea of queer, a queer identity or just, pansexual,